us. I think we're at 1:30, so we might call this meeting to order. We don't, doesn't look like we have quorum, but I don't believe we have a decision before us today necessarily. So far, that's not a challenge we'll have to overcome.
All right.
Yeah,
But Madam Mayor Engel is on her way as well.
okay. That will get us closer to quorum. Okay, so if we want to do roll call, David, do you want to start?
Sure, I'm David Eels. I represent Coos County here.
Angel Brainerd, Director of First Homeless Response.
Nicole Rutherford, I'm representing Coos Bay, City of Coos Bay.
And then we have our staff today.
I'm Ashley Worth. I'm the administrative coordinator.
Eric Shermer, Project Manager.
Brenda Jackson, guest concerns.
Jonathan Arnold, interested. Pastor Jim, Lakeside.
Okay. And we have an addition there. Representative Wright, did you want to introduce?
Hey, Representative Boomer Wright, District 9, glad to be here.
Thank you. And Anthony Arton, would you want to introduce?
Hello, good afternoon. Anthony Arton, Public Health Director for Coos Health and Wellness.
And Mayor Engelke is just stepping in to join us. All right, so that will bring us to public comments, and I believe that you presented a comment form. If you wanted to speak, we allow you.
I called Andrew yesterday, wanted to find out what you do.
Yeah.
We have a homeless problem, and I thought maybe you might be able to help. But he asked me to make a presentation, and would you do that now or after your meeting?
If it's under 3 minutes, and then, maybe talk a little bit about what you'd like to talk about, and then for the next meeting, we could put you on the agenda if that's okay.
Okay.
Well, and if it's helpful too, we'd be happy to kind of discuss what our role is here, which maybe might help in you determining where we might be able to assist as well.
I have a PowerPoint presentation. I think it'll only take maybe 5 minutes to go through that. I'll tell you what I'm thinking of.
That's fine.
Ashley, could you get that on?
Yeah, give me one moment.
One of the things that the community has and the churches have, we have homeless sitting on the streets and they taken care of. And one of the things that the city needs is they need property and a place for them to be so they can put ordinances on them to move off the street. So it's a win-win situation, but it takes parties to do it. Two different. One, us to help and you to help. You being the county, because I chose you because of the area. We need space. And the city in Lakeside doesn't have any space. They have to buy property. They made a mistake and bought a piece of property on the which cost them a fortune. And they need to dispose of that and then find some way to get property to help the homeless. In talking to Andrew, was 2 pieces of property available. One was the city and the other one was the county park. The county in Lakeside. So it's huge. The part as you go into it, the content it's 3 times the size of the park. Is on the right hand side. And one we park here. This over here is the which is a huge big park. I'm talking about this area here to here is the county, oh, to your home area. This area is the open area. Right in the center of that, county. I'm talking about this area right here, one idea of what I'd like to propose to you. And that is, I got a picture of that, that's the entrance to the park. And then the next slide is that the area looking at the RV park. That area looking back toward the entrance. You see the sun there? And then one slide, and then the slide to the left of the RV park. Right here. And the next slide is the combination of all of us. That's all there is. And the next slide is what we just saw that about the area where our homeless camp in there. And then the next slide is that homeless camp. Now, in your brochure that I handed out, is that what is that of that? And that goes first are but and how the people were almost and then houses with temporary and my and that was my item. If you look ordinances, all the streets and
in your city limits, within, like city limits.
yes, your RV park is right dead center and now half of that. The county park is right in the center. Yes.
I mean, I would want it. And then they can definitely chat about that and where that fits in the scope, but ultimately, the local actually comes from the county commissioner.
All I'm doing is giving you an idea. I was hoping you would give us ideas what you got. But I didn't get anything from the,
Yeah.
anything on the city. Nothing being done. It did start that program, but it needs to be brought out and made it happen.
I think we could then have the similar process in place, right? I think
So, and I can speak to that a little bit. So, I took time in our and we represent to say more than the county board of the current on the board. So I can speak to a little bit about the topic, what the intent was then is to, per the council, we needed to come up with a place where individuals in some ways complete by our bus, but and our and just to give you some feedback, I think we also looking for you to talk to your neighbors and excited. When we did, I believe, a full 3 town halls to solicit feedback and think where the safety in the city of Dayton. We had to come up with a place that we can put it working. And so we looked at everything and just to kind of give you some feedback, it was very loud period with our residents that absolutely did not want to give up any part. It's difficult as far as we have been, surrounded by water on the other day. So we don't really have to stay in those that we on a space down at the front. And it's not ideal that we kind of do have like downtown. We do need to have 8 places so that we could again make sure that they coordinate or not on the street. know, if it's helpful or not, and in our, you know, town, we had, the survey also went out, and we had really robust town hall. And, people find what we want to do, we don't want it to be a burden. And so, again, we settled on some, a parking lot area down by our apartment, a city owned, and then also some street parking out on Tuesday from the fire station. So, you know, that helps or not, that was what you're hearing in our town, and I'm not sure like it's and then that's really some community concern over the park space there. We need to do that, but probably a good figure, what other people are urging and
do have a 65 maybe we take fine, but I think we sit on that. Would have but some of that but there's no problem with that. So we're locked in there. Not making going there.
Yeah, I mean, I think face value, it's good to have some. Good from there, it is,
I think that's what's happening with
yeah, I mean, definitely there are some, good homes for that. There are some definitely for that, and then there's some you know, reliability in terms of their sitting operational, all of those things. And I'm pretty likely there's a challenge right now, county level, one of the county is usually probably challenging with the budget that we cover their current.
I think immediately recognize that some of our kind of develop shelters. Yeah, and a lot of it's kind of something temporary in place. So we can get we really have to do it. We take it from our access to people, and if the cost of rental, the rental cost of being able to rent your home is reduced so that people can actually afford it. Without that situation now, with not much inventory and cost are above them. So the long-term solution, I think we know where they need to be, but it takes some time to be able to get there. And in the meantime, what do we do? We put things in place to hold these long-term things that really kind of like a short term. Yes,
but it was not the community right now, and we don't have that many people. Lakeside is different than Coos Bay. Lakeside is almost are people that have been there for 40 years. That are we don't have any facilities. We have facilities. No, because that's their family. They got their family there, but their family doesn't have the money to help them be supported. So they live out in the prairie, so they live in campground. It's sad. But I think this would help us if we would.
I think they compromise some technical assistance to some competitive, it's not like you with some other folks have energy.
We're gonna get the safety involved too, because yeah, but they don't have the land. You have that.
We don't have that. I mean,
Well, like the Coos County has something.
So the really part of it is back to our role is, which, you know, a lot of our role is to help bring things together, facilitate. There's all we don't have the manpower and we will have that actually work. Our goal, that's really not our goal is to try to develop. Facilitate coordination group that is involved in the process. And so obviously that and the concept of being a partner that within. So I think what can I know for our members, John, we in the there, and so I think, you know, as a group approach, I might suggest that you contact talk about the church regard, and maybe we can all suggest.
So what might be a good option, you could have there's this kind of our project coordinator, and we can maybe sit and chat with you a little bit. Because essentially what this group is trying to do here is identify community partners who can have financial support to capacity to their current programs that are already addressing the needs of the vendors. You often not enough in our all here to expand something. So where that might look like it's supporting work that we are doing, you know, partially our budget. You know, our need to be really understand that we're really trying to support work. That, but it might be helpful that there's some kind of communication and then that might help. Yeah.
It's possible. I'm gonna have area. And look at the plan, if I do that, maybe you guys can look at the plan, do the presentation, the city thinks, and then put it to see both sides and do work with the county. Without getting that, yeah.
That's what I would, you know, we go and we have to facilitate, we got. Maybe people are the like side on more early so that they can be part of the conversation and discussion. Because that was her experience and but what we heard that your experience but the individuals who have been on the side. If you start talking to them about what your vision is and why the long-term goal is, the interested in this is that to get them there to think about there.
That's just that maybe having a town hall discussion that to the city side with our assistants and fair as well, that will be through that process. Okay.
That's great.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Anybody else has any other questions? No, I'm just asking you days ago, I work leaders for an additional period of law, where we actually got the and came to the competition. It's one of the original mayor and successful for about 20 years. Since then, I haven't done much, and you notice the problem, and I feel like I could do even more. I've never replaced that as a complaint place. Because I think overall that I know like the rules of the shopping cart ordinance and I have a little bit of reaction to that. I'm not sure where that went about, but so that's a whole other thing that I've been learning on that side because I'm part ordinance that was put in place. But just yeah, I want to be here to support what's going on and listen. And get my hands dirty. And we want to that for Carolyn. I am it's so you're benefit of coming into this group because we have a lot of community partners who are maybe with us and they're making it. And like, I don't know all the AS guys from also help, you know, with that. So they have no awareness of somebody looking for an extra 7 years, providing the position.
Yeah, thank you. And I've been involved in education, so I think I get it interested to to. Thank you. We're having some major technicals. No.
And just want to give a little bit of recap of what's going on there. We'll start first with this update on Army that was there. This holiday. As went through and expect last time. The drop, what's the gas is supposed to be 34 degrees or below?
No.
38. 38 degrees or below.
32. They would like to freeze it, I was on glad that government was doing.
And so that's going on, and then working on with the Salvation Army Home Village project. I've been in meetings with Major Kaufman, and then also representing the Cocoa Indian tribe from the state. Progress is moving forward. We're hopefully by the end of January, we'll be able to sign off on that project. By doing that, once we get the approval, then I will work with Eric to get the whole plan, to do the contract that we were talking about among the counties to get everything finalized. So it's still in meetings right now, and we're getting closer. It's a little slow right now being the holidays, but hopefully soon, like I said, we'll in between January.
After contracts are signed, what are the next steps on that? What's that?
The next steps is continually working with the city on the groundbreaking and different licenses and repairs and as well. So we're hopefully continuing with the good weather here soon that things will continue to flow and so we can get that project going.
Do you anticipate that completion will be 6 months or 12 months?
I don't know if I want to say any dates on that. I would want to feel more comfortable once the dotted line is signed on both parties. So, but I will be continually updating you on that progress for sure.
I would imagine they could probably let us know that this is something they've done in other settings. They could probably tell us sort of from groundbreaking on what the likely time frame.
And I think it's in there, I just don't remember, I think it was in their proposal, kind of what that looks like. They've done some preliminary work with the city, as far as talking about permits and things like that, so that will ease it, but they're still process.
Their estimated completion time, if everything goes perfect, was midsummer.
Yeah, so I think it's 6 to 8 months.
Like I said before, I don't want to give any hard evidence. We're still going through some hurdles and
Yeah,
I'm one of those people that don't like to think the other day unless I totally confirmed on that, so. Talking about community outreach agencies, I want to give credit to Ashley and Eric. They've been continually helping to support our stakeholder advisory meetings that we have 3 times a month. Our attendance has been low, but having Ashley reached out to each individual, the stakeholders and the community partners and put together a survey of how come they're not attending, what would they like to see, how can they be more informed, and do you have any ideas of projects for the future? And so Ashley is working on that right now to work with each person. So, some of the also that we're talking about, the work that we have continued to work with our faith-based, Eric attended the meeting with the faith-based recently to talk about the point-in-time count and to how to do some presentations on how to use the internet to collect data. they will be continuing partnering with, we'll have other partners as well. As well. Eric has continually gone with me to the chamber to represent our department and talk with chamber members and local businesses and to get feedback with them with all the possibilities of incentives that we can help out or funding as well. We continually do great updates with the website and our Facebook page, and we're acting on that part and the creation of our new logo, as you can see in front of us. And we've been doing an excellent job there. The point time count 2024, it's been recruiting, so I know a lot of people said they want to see how they can help on volunteer. That's going to be a huge volunteer network that we're going to need help with. Eric and share on that with you after the meeting as well, where we're at and in progress as well. This week we began recruiting any bento liaisons with the school districts in an effort to capture a broader picture of our homeless situation in relation to children and families. Eric has continually worked with the administrators of Coos County and to have meetings, to have a direct line for those. So we have an accurate count. He's especially been working with Mullen and Torres, who represents those school districts locally here as well. So we continue with our stakeholders meetings lately. Has been talking about the big count. I think it's the best opportunity that we have more accurate numbers than in the past, even though in the past people have done excellent work. We want to be more supportive to those that have done it in the past to outreach better so everybody succeeds in our area. One of the things that we are very happy about, and I don't know if other partners know about this, but the Salvation Army has a brand new van that's mobile units that will be able to use every single day within the 10 days of the pickup. And so Eric will be the driver on that, and we'll have all the supplies and information, and he will continue to work with our partners, including today. He was able to do some outreach with ADAPT and a few of our partners to get a feel of what they do out in the field and the support they give, and to find out where the homeless are. So he was out there in the field today, and we'll continue to work with our partners at other locations as well. A medical service provider has been secured through Coos Health and Wellness to the triage, wound care, and administrator vaccines as well. And then the big count volunteer sign up went live on Friday. You can sign up by clicking on the Orchid volunteer sign up sheet, or you can find it on our Facebook page as well, and retention on our website as well. We have almost finished developing training for the continuing staff, and this material will be offered online as well for the pit count volunteers. It's a great resource. We also been working with Scott Cooper. Eric has been attending meetings with Scott and Terry Johnson on interviews for a common form the way possible. He's been working on a video that will help with how to approach homeless people in a great way and how to communicate with them too. So he's been working with Scott and Tara, acting like a little demo video that they're currently working on. And we continue to attend various meetings. They continue to make connections with our nonprofits, including today, like I said. We do have some questions for the board, possibly with our new logo and with the addition of Eric and being out in the field. We have a quote that, if you're okay with, I'll have Ashley share about our business card quote, and possibly if it's approval that we can move forward and talk to the county to see if it's okay for purchase. Would you mind sharing with that, Ashley?
Sharing how much it was?
Yeah.
It was between 43 and 53, depending on quantity.
And I also want to let you know, maybe before giving Eric's cell phone or work cell that we continue some works. If it's okay, going back to the subject of the business cards, it's okay that we pursue that, and give the county the information on the possibilities we can purchase these cars.
That made it, I think that makes sense. If you're out there trying to market and let people know what you do, hopefully give them something they can.
You need business card.
Definitely.
Is it something that could be ordered through the county?
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, and I just wanted to get the approval before we start purchasing with ideas and we can send you a template of what they look like as well.
Yeah.
So.
And it's silent for that, Megan.
They probably need an approval from.
Yeah,
you.
so if it comes through me, like I'm part two.
And then lastly, it's kind of a small item due to the fact that, and we are so very grateful for the space that is provided for us. We are, looking for at least a mini fridge or something. It's hard for our staff to go out and buy lunch every day and kind of nice we have a little mini fridge. So if anybody in the county or the city has one that they want to it helps because it's difficult at times, especially having three staff. And I want to support my staff as much as I can. So it's just little things. So get praise from their ideas, but that's
Is there not a line item that is like office supplies to the?
I mean, probably quickly, it's just.
I don't think those are reasonable things to ask for, but
Yeah.
Really, I don't know, yeah, I've only been on more recently, so I don't know if there was a specific budget in terms of those line items that was submitted.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a line item for the
Yeah.
whole amount that we received, but I don't think there was ever any budget in place that I'm aware of.
And the House bill just speaks to cost related to them, the
Office.
yeah. So, that seems a reasonable.
Well, I would say, and typically it would be good to send an email, to, those are small items. So typically we handle them more administratively than at this kind of.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, so if you just send me, we'll kind of like, you can kind of, if you just send that request, and then I forward that to Megan and Megan can
See if it's possible.
identify how we go about.
Okay. Well, thank you. And then just to close out the report, Eric and Eric Larson has been on the beat, working with people, Eric, and actually been each asset to our program. And Eric is continually working with our nonprofits. He's met with Scott Cooper, and then he's met with Josh and Adapt and the different agency for all the hard work they've been doing, and just finding out what projects that we can actually help and support and fund and help out as well to work with our grant writer to find the funding for those sources as well. So that's all I have in my report today.
Thank you. I don't know, looks like everything right is not on anymore. I know you have something you wanted to share, but.
Let's see if Drew can hear us. Drew, can you hear us?
Yeah, it's a little choppy here and there, but I can hear you.
A little better. Madam Mayor, do you have a phone number?
yeah, I do. I was just gonna see if I could. See if he get disconnected.
He also said that he would, if we would invite him back, he would like to come and speak at a later date.
Not time sensitive.
No, it didn't seem like it.
Okay, so he didn't get this next, he just had to go.
Our audio was bad enough that they couldn't hear anything online.
I do wonder, and it is the sort of the legislative session is getting started, so I do wonder also if we have to want to hear a little bit about the route. Could we have any and which are going here since, money was passed out for the legislature, I'm sure you'd like to that is direct.
And maybe we could schedule a meeting for one of our executive meetings.
Yeah.
All right, well, unless there's anything else you would like to share.
Comments?
Oh, sorry, I was like, I skipped past that. Right,
Yeah. So maybe my board comment would be a question, I'm curious, county representative, Mr. David Gill on the spot here, but what, so I saw reports that came out that said Oregon is it the second worst nationally for gun house? Did you see that?
I did not, but I've seen similar.
Okay.
It's about the whole West Coast on.
I was like, second worst, and I haven't had time to dig into that article yet, but I was just, I thought I was gonna, because I'm like, where are their numbers coming from? I mean, of course, I think we all have our, like anecdotally, our stories like, yeah, it sounds about right? Like if we have some challenges out here, we know we have like moderate weather, but I was just curious, that was gonna be my question for you or anybody else, if they had seen that report and if they had. Any
A
thoughts?
lot about it. I did review.
Besides, yeah.
I didn't review it. I just kind of understand too. I mean, there are certainly most of the major population centers in particular issues around all of this, but it is in particular also the West Coast, California and Oregon. And I mean, to me, partly, and I hire a lot of folks out of the area that come from out of state for professional positions. Our housing prices are shocking for people from other areas. I've hired people from Georgia, Tennessee, Texas. They look at what a small, moderate house costs here, and it is out of proportion from what their expectations are.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, part of that must be just lack of inventory. I mean, that's what tends to drive the costs up, right?
That's the standard equation, supply.
Supply and demand, there's not enough, and I mean, coastal areas have always been high. I mean, I've been here 25 years. I would hire somebody from even Salem and they would look at our prices and say, what the heck, why is it so much higher here?
I mean, I think that a large factor of that also is the nice Supreme Court decision that gave us these parameters that we can't just do them away. If you move away from that decision into those other states, they still have the ability to say, no, not in my city. Is that right or wrong?
Contributing
can
factor.
decide, but that leaves this side of the country fair game for people to come in and have that safety of space. So.
I do think, I know that a lot of them were very focused on visible homelessness, but I mean, we've had issues with homelessness a long time. It's just that people have been couch surfing. They've been popping up a tent at a friend's house. I mean, that has been going on for a long time. We just never really entered our consciousness, right? We don't see it,
Well, it's also kind of different than what we do now, which is allowable. People can be on the sidewalks and have accumulation of I mean, all of the negative things that the community is pointing fingers at. When you're connected to a couch or a tent, there's a better care group there and it is more private and less community visible. So.
I mean, a lot of our community, the general practice that you spend 30% of your income on your rent or your mortgage. And, we have a huge number of our population that are spending 40-50% or more just on their mortgage. So that puts them at such a high risk of homelessness. It doesn't take much to look that over. I know my kids, when they've been out of school a little bit, high school, and they really struggled to find a place, and their rent was more than 30%. I think it was closer to 40-50% of their income was on their mortgage costs. So,
and we, the city of Green Bay, although we edged out of it last year, but in 2022, 21, we were identified as a severely rent burdened community with a large portion, I want to say 50% of our population paying 50% or more of their income for rent.
yeah. I don't know. I think there's many factors. I mean, I don't know if I can't speak to the other parts of Oregon, but a lot of properties still haven't been maintained for years, right? There's been a lot of deferred maintenance on some of the property, and so that created other situations where somebody has their roof leaks all the time, or their windows are broken out, or, you know, their heat supply dies and they can't afford enough money. So I think some of those problems have been here for a long time. They've just been really compounded over the last 10 years since the housing market. So, you know, how do we get ourselves out of this is going to take some time. And I mean, I just honestly, it's been a little frustrating to me that, you know, some of the things that we've tried to get moving that have been involved, you know, Bangor School, how many units of housing are that? You know, the Inglewood project also, how many units of housing for that? So, you know, really some of these things can,
Frankly,
yeah,
yeah.
I would relieve the pressure a little bit, you know, it would create a little bit of wiggle room in our current market. So, you know, what we're having to do is these temporary situations, right? Which doesn't make anybody happy, honestly. So.
This is Drew hopping in. We were able to get a little success regarding measure or the executive order 2302. Working with Boomer Wright and David Brock Smith, we were able to put some pressure on the Oregon Emergency Management Department, was tasked with conducting the land survey within the state to find land that the state can surplus out for housing development. When they passed the executive order, that only applied to about 20% of the state, primarily metro. We were able to put enough pressure out there finally, it took about a year, that the governor's office has issued an exception, and they'll be doing a study on the other 80% of the state to find land that can be surplused for housing development. Not going to be by any means imminent, but they are also going to look at what land they have now within our area that they can provide for housing development.
Well, thanks for kind of spearheading that.
Yeah.
In a passion project that you've been kind of pushing forward. So happy to hear that it's had some momentum.
Yeah, I think they're just tired of hearing me at all the meetings.
That's fair. Senator, did you have anything you wanted to share today?
Maybe just to reiterate, I mean, I think Andrew did a good job talking about the point of time count, but I just wanted to, for those listening, to recognize that the importance of this, that count is used a lot for funding for our area. So maybe seems odd about why we're spending so much time trying to count folks that are houseless, but the main reason is if we don't fully represent those in our community that are houseless, then we are not going to get the funding that might be able to do something. So I think that's why we're trying to really join forces and circle the wagon and make sure that we're really trying to account for everybody that sort of gets in this area so that we can make sure that we have the resources necessary. So
Just a follow-up question to that. So how do you, it's always interesting to me, like how, so as you mentioned before, there's a high number of people couch surfing. Is there a self-reporting mechanism about that piece, or how do you, like, you don't just knock on doors, like, I need to sleep on your couch,
right.
like, how do you access those numbers?
Right. I think they have their insights to be there when the meetings with the community action and you have some information about how that I hear your
I
concern
mean,
as
I
well.
think the kids side of that is gonna be maybe, you know, Melinda is gonna help us connect some of that, those numbers, but I don't know, yeah.
We collect those numbers every year with this count the homeless.
Mhm.
But there's no report coming back on how many are house, yes,
No.
and how many are in the bush, and how many are in trailers, and how many are in tents. That information is there. That's what we collect. Isn't that information coming back to us?
I think it does. It does. We get the information. The question is how accurate it is, right? And I'm sure there's always some margin of error. I think many of us at this table will agree that last year's information was well underrepresented based off of previous data. But in the meetings, do they discuss, like, I think that it's pretty clear, like there's certain camps that people can, that our officers and, you know, our representatives have an idea where to go look for people if they're like,
Yes, and
can't be, but.
in
Yeah.
fact, Josh right over there is one of our regular brush count people and knows where camps are and goes and counts. So does Scott from AYA. To answer the question a little bit earlier about the couch surfing, the McKinney-Vento definition of homeless and the HUD definition of homeless are different. And that's where some of our numbers discrepancy comes from. For someone to be counted in the PIT count, they have to meet the HUD definitions of homelessness, which means that if they are couch surfing, they have to be forced to change where they're couch surfing within 14 days of the night of the PIT count. So if someone says, oh, you know what, you need a place to stay, you can stay on my couch as long as you need, they are not considered homeless or unsheltered or any of that in terms of HUD. Okay, if a family's doubled up in a house, which happens a lot, and it can last longer than 2 weeks, they are not considered unhoused because they're living in a place that's fit for human habitation. So it really comes down to knowing which people qualify and don't qualify by which definition of homelessness to make the PIT count accurate. I'm hoping I'm answering your question here. And so the brief one was anyone couch surfing that has to change where they're couch surfing in 14 days of the night of the PIT count does count as unhoused for HUD definition.
How are we counting that stuff?
How do you is.
So, and this is where it gets really tricky because the McKinney-Vento liaisons from the school districts know who they're working can reach out and do the phone calls and count people. But again, most of those people won't count for HUD because they're staying where they're staying longer than 14 days.
Or they don't want to go into that. I'm fine. They don't want to.
We have that, so,
Yeah.
yes. As far as, how could we reach the kind person that lives in Coos Bay who's sharing their house with someone? I don't even know. I mean, we could advertise.
I was gonna say, maybe there is an advertising, so like we're gathering some very important data for our community. If you're helping an in-house person, please contact this number. I mean, I really, if this is directly related to our funding, worries me. You'd ask if you answer my question. Yes, and I don't like it, and I know it's not your fault. But yeah, frustrating.
Yeah, and if they are sharing their home with someone and they're doing that on an indefinite basis, then that person doesn't count as unhoused for the PIT count anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is unfortunately difficult and messy.
I can provide
Yes.
some insight as well. The question of how you tell the situation the person is in. Questions that are on the point in time count are run through the rural Oregon continuum of care, and the folks on that board make decisions around what questions and how many are going to be on the survey, because if you draw it out too long, people stop talking to you. And then for the location folks are being found at, when you're entering the material into your phone, if you're on the move, it'll log the location where you've entered the data so that over a period of time, we can see where the concentrations are year to year. Of course, this runs into problems. Like, as noted, the data has been inaccurate before. There was about 3 cycles back. Every area in the nation came out about 3 times higher than they were the year prior, and then they were the year after. So something happened one year where the data got completely blown up throughout the country. And other times, I think the last count, there's a rural county in Oregon, not a high population, lower than Coos County, that registered 800 people in one day in one parking lot, which you're supposed to have eyes on the person to count them. And it is highly doubtful that 800 people were in the same parking lot within 24 hours, especially in the county it was in. So when we come to data comparing to other counties, we have questionable moments that I questioned to the board. And the questions on the survey come through the rural Oregon Continuum of Care. It's a body of about 26 counties, and I forget how many community action agencies, but also a very broad pool of community-based organizations. So complicated stuff.
Can I ask a question? May I ask a question to draw? Draw in recent years of working with it in the work, how to count servers and stuff. What are some of the things that you used in the past? What are things you'd love to see in the future that could help out in your ideas?
You asking?
Yeah.
Sean, you asking me?
Draw.
The only thing, lacking in the past, would be a great improvement, would be coordination. It sounds like we've got some new people on board that are doing stuff, in their community, relations and some communication revolving around it. So I think that'll be a lot better this year. Even, so my history is that I got with, was out here. And historically, even with all the people that we got doing the time and point count, it's still not accurate. It's still low compared to the people who are actually running into. I've been a while. They move. There's a few peers actually out in the woods, but even that we can't facilitate going to all the places on that single day and reaching all the way farther reach places. So, but I think the main thing being just that we get set up, with a few people that actually go out outside of stationary locations and getting them directly into specific areas would be a great help this year.
And we can actually count over a 10-day period as long as we ask about the night of the pit count. So we don't have to, we can kind of do a search grid through the woods and cover it in several days.
That's why
Add to this one, when it tracking homelessness, and because of the mechanism it uses, where if the person can couch surf, if they're doing that for more than 14 days, you can't count them. The pit count is an item that tracks change, but in areas with systemic histories of poverty, it won't track the status quo. We've had a history of poverty in our county and high rates of homelessness for a long time. So when we look at pit count data, part of the problem is that it's not tracking for areas that have been affected in the large scale. It's only tracking for change. So another thing I've brought up at meetings is it's not accurately tracking where the need is. It's tracking where the change is to fund areas that didn't have the problem before and leave the rest of us who have had the problem in the dust somewhere.
Which is various programs have different things they hand out only during the time point count. But the stationary locations usually. Person happens to come across there and they get the full backpack and they get the whatever. They just happen to get that if some of the people that have nicer things or whatever, and had a quantity available. Some of that was advertised over time, whatever that looked like. And fashion that none of us would know about. We knew ahead of time who had what, and we get the word out. The incentive is a great draw to any kind of meeting. One of the greatest outreach pieces that I got is we did lunches.
Is what lunches?
Lunches, outreach. They set up for outreach and it was slow. They've gone around and let everybody know we're there, but they've got mentioned in lunches. We went back around and did lunches, and then all of a sudden there's 15 people that knew we were there, but they weren't coming to see it. So.
And Eric is pursuing that work right now. He and Ashley have different locations and different days and times that a lot of our providers will be helping us, especially in DHS is now part will be set up at the trial over office as well for a point in time count with incentives. So.
For
appreciate that. I mean, if you need me to show up, food helps, you know.
Thank you.
And yeah, you get ours from, all of our church. You might contact them ahead of time and make a lot of info letters to the Deborah Center. You know, put together hundreds and hundreds of lunches every day.
Call in person every day.
College bar. So if you got a hold of them ahead of time, you could probably staff, you start making them day or two ahead of time, because they're, shelf table. You could probably provide 50 lunches to all the major locations. All those to go out, you know, because you might think about how many go where, but yeah, it'd be a resource for you.
I'll have you work with Eric and can you work with him on that project and that would be a huge, nice addition as well. So thank you for speaking.
And we'll drive them around in the van too.
Yeah.
All right. There's nothing else. I will adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Brenda, for coming. It's good to see you, and thank you to.
I do.